The first thing you need to know about white label reselling is the difference between white label reselling and reselling. White label reselling refers to the process of buying a product or service from a company or individual and then putting your own brand on it and then selling it, okay? So it's different than reselling in the sense that with reselling, you're buying a product that has a brand already, has a name already, has a company behind it already, so to speak, and then you're selling it with your margin added to it. With white label reselling, you're selling something in your own name. There's nobody behind it except you, okay? Now, there are different sort of models of white label reselling, right? Depending upon what you're selling, you could be selling products that are physically, drop shipped from some company somewhere with a warehouse, and they'll stamp your logo on it when you make a sale. There's white label reselling services like digital services, the kind that we at Rocket Drivers specialize in, where we go and we actually implement services, conduct development on behalf of our partners for the third party, which is their client, okay? Now, within that spectrum, okay, of services and products, you have everything in between. You have arrangements that are made. Sometimes a service gets sold, and there is some kind of support from the parent entity, and they'll do support in the name of your company, for example. There are those kind of relationships. There's also the kinds of relationships where you package something up, right? A company might do this. They may package up a service or a suite of different services, and some of them are white label and some of them are not, all right? In other words, you may have a company that provides back office access to a platform or to a tool, okay? And that back office is, unbranded, and yet there may be plugins or things that are added onto it, right, that are branded, okay? You can even have third and even potentially fourth party, so to speak, not really a term, but, people that are, not just a third party, but you can have businesses that are separate completely from both your business and the one you're buying from that have products bundled into things. It's really complicated, and it gets very complicated. Most people are asking, how to do it, what to look for in a company. Now, I can speak for digital companies, in the landscape that exists when it comes to digital marketing. When it comes to products, that's a whole other story, and there's a lot to discuss there with inventories and supply and all kinds of inscrutable minutia to go through when you talk about buying products that are white label and, rebranding them. But when it comes to digital services, that is a landscape it's broad, and there's a lot of companies there, and yet it's somewhat narrow in the sense that there are only a good dozen or so major providers out there. All right. These days, though, the concept is spreading, and more service providers are offering their services in a white label manner for people to resell. But it really wasn't like this, 5 or 10 years ago. It's somewhat new and somewhat evolving. But when you're looking for a white label provider, if you're looking for a company to partner with to sell their services, you really have to focus on things more than just price and more than just the product. A lot of people make the mistake when they're looking for somebody to sell their services. They may be looking for social media, for example, or they may be looking for websites, or they may be looking for SEO. And they look at the product itself and they say, how much can I add on? What's my margin going to be when I make a sale? And they look at that, and it's always important to look at that, but don't look at that to the exclusion of other factors. You have to think in terms of, first of all, when it comes to like digital services, is this product going to work? Is there effectiveness here? Is there a proven track record? What am I getting? What can I expect? Number one of the most important things, even before any of that, is communications. If you're dealing with a company that's, 8 time zones away, and you have to communicate with them because you've sold a company uptown, your service, you've sold them an SEO package, for example, and now you have to communicate with the company that's actually doing the campaign. Well, you have to think of, what are communications going to look like with that company? What's implementation going to look like? What do they need from me? How much is on your shoulders in this process? It's not just price. There's a lot to it. Sometimes, you're better off not even making a sale than making a sale and having a really bad white label service provider behind you. Now, I'm not going to name individual companies because there's tons of them out there, and some are good and some are bad. But I will tell you that really when you're selecting a white label service provider, don't trust the website. Get on the phone. Communicate with this company. Figure out what it's going to look like when you actually make a sale of the service in question. You do not want to be in a position where you've made a sale of a service and now you've got a company behind you that's screwed up, that's hard to deal with, that doesn't have support down pat, that doesn't have good communications, that has a messy implementation process, or there's all kinds of ways things can go sideways there. And also have a very clear understanding of what the role is of your business and what the role is of their business, right? Your provider, because sometimes providers will want to or need to engage with the end client, okay? And if they're a mess in terms of communications and they have to engage with the end client at all, that can really ruin deals for you and make you look really bad. Really do your homework with that. Look at the service offering with a lot, be very critical. Also, approach other vendors. Many businesses that do these things, that offer services, are open to having a white label relationship with you exclusively. So it doesn't have to be a white label specialized provider to be a really good company to work with. Anyhow, that's going to wrap this up in the white label series. We'll be doing a lot more. Smash that like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.